Hi, welcome. On this video, I'm out here with Kira for a hangout exercise. And Kira's here on a 2-week board and train. This is day number 4. Coming along really good. Kira holding a lot of control. You can kind of see that at times when I'm interacting with her. Kind of spiking of that. So here, again, her being 6 months, this is a critical point in the relationship when it comes to making sure you get her back on the right path. And so here in this video, I'm going to be performing a hangout exercise. You will have seen this on some of my other videos with other dogs. And so the basic premise here is for me to get Kira to relax in a down position as a follower, as I'm just kind of relaxed myself, hanging out. But here's the thing, very interesting type of contrast here, and I'd encourage people to kind of really try this with your dog to see what I'm talking about, the issue about relationship, because this is a kind of a funnel point, okay? A point where, again, putting a dog into a demand, in terms of influence being part of the equation, and getting a dog to relax, which is a reasonable demand, okay? Because it's about how you're asserting influence. But the contrast of that, the not liking part, okay, will help you kind of reconcile how the dog perceives you, okay? Especially in some areas that represent more emotion. So typically, near a couch, certain areas that you're hanging out with your dog, maybe doing a lot more petting, a lot more emotion. But then on top of that, you come to a realization that you're experiencing a relationship problem with your dog. So it's all about reversing, okay, starting to get on the right path. Now this is a great little exercise here because this represents kind of moving into more and more freedom, more and more freedom with the dog in terms of, just like my parenting example, more freedom with a child, okay, where a parent has to start to get in their airspace different. So understand these interactions represent that. So this is a great kind of hangout exercise because you can transition from the one-step method, okay, moving from the crate, the one-step method, and then go right into the hangout exercise, which you're going to see here in a moment. Now I'm going to bring Kira over. Now again, the language is I'm not giving a command, because this is a demand, okay? If you give a command, it changes the context as to what you're doing. She's in control that way. She can do it on her timing when she decides, and then on top of that, the influence is not part of the equation by way of changing the perceptions of dogs the right way. So here, I'm going to bring her over. To bring her over, again, I'm using the choke chain here just for a little more leverage. I'm going to put her to the sit. Down. Now I can say the word like I did there, but I'm pushing at the same time. I notice she doesn't like this a whole lot. She's not trying to bite me or anything like that. She's just locking down. Now right here, she knows the intent. Understand, this isn't about her not knowing what I want because I didn't use a command, okay? I'm advocating influence straight down. I've done this before. She knows, what this represents. But this is, again, another moment where she's saying, you know what, because this is about relationship. This is a type of power play, which it needs to be. But notice how much she's locking in. But I'm just using my body weight. She finally became agreeable, but not without, again, not without her being really stubborn about it. Now, she's down here like this. Again, understand this is a great exercise. You saw there how I was doing it. Because if I push, if I start to bend my elbow and start to push this way, then it becomes personal. Okay, then I'm like, expelling energy, and the likelihood is that I'm going to get more frustrated, more upset, right? But if I'm just locking my shoulder in like I did there, and I'm just leaning onto her, right, it becomes less personal. Right here, she tries to get up, I'm just putting her back into a down. Because here, see her looking at me? This is what this is. This is like rewriting, re-signing the contract, okay? Because typically, think about this type of interaction, ask yourself the question, if you're hanging out with your dog, where would your dog be, in relation to this type of interaction? Up on your lap, typically up on the couch, beside you on the couch, maybe here, but maybe you're just really you're doing a lot of petting and everything. Here, this is different, right? Because this is about relationship. This is like the saying, with your kids, if you're a parent, I love you to death, but don't be fooled, right? Is that right? Right type of. So right here, she knows I was about to get up, or I was shifting a little bit, and I triggered her, and so I'm going to put her back into the down. Now this is good because you kind of see this level of stubbornness on the dog, okay? You see how much she really doesn't like this at all. It's a reasonable demand, but she absolutely, this is about relationship and control, right? Because it's about position. I'm up higher, I have control through the leash, right? She feels that, and I'm putting a demand onto her, but this is like a de-stressing exercise. So this is, the intent here isn't about to try to start a war, a battle with the dog. Understand that's not what this is about. So if I sense that, you know, for example, I wouldn't do this type of exercise initially if I didn't think if I didn't think Kira was ready for this at a certain level. Okay, because again, you don't want to get into a battle and then you probably should be having the dog with a muzzle on. But then if you have a muzzle on the dog and you need to use a muzzle for this type of exercise, maybe you shouldn't be doing this exercise, maybe you're doing it too soon to begin with. But you still might need the muzzle. Okay, so understand it's all about, you know, everything has a sequence, has kind of an order of things when you start to interact certain ways, you know, certain types of interactions. So here, again, just, you know, I have influence happening. But again, this is a hangout exercise, so you can picture yourself sitting here watching a movie and hanging out with visitors, okay, having them come in, your dog's on the leash like this. You're doing the down just like I did it, okay, and getting the dog to relax. Now, here's the thing. If I start to move and stand up a little bit, I don't want her to pop up. You know, I want her to remain into the down position. So you notice that I made a little bit of a movement there. It really triggered her, and she wanted to pop up. And now here, she's starting to really relax. So I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm not going to, you know, move around and try to get her to pop up so I can, you know, put her back down again. Here, I'm just going to take advantage of the fact that she's right here. She's really letting it go. Just as I'm talking here, she's getting very, very relaxed, because this is taking stress off of her. Even though she did a little bit of a some challenge with this, for sure, this plays into everything else, but this is really going to help her as I continue to do these type of interactions, help her relax. So when you first do this, depending on, you know, your dog, you know, you want to go for this type of relaxation for, say, a few minutes at first. It could be 15, 20 minutes and build up to, say, the length of a movie or whatever. And then, you know, once the dog is really letting it go, really relaxing, then you can start to think about, again, more freedom with using some with random moments, you know, moments of the push-pull method. But again, it's all about how you know, move towards freedom, okay? More freedom for a dog, because this is about relationship, influence, my ability to be able to change your perceptions, this type of power play scenario, okay, which, you know, you do want it to happen. But again, you're very aware that you don't want to you want the dog to be as agreeable as possible. See, that's the whole thing here, is that ultimately I want to be successful always. I don't want to create a scenario where I could get bitten, or it goes into an extremely high level of challenge. Understand that those are always things you need to keep in mind. So even though influence is part of it, and it is going to trigger, like here you saw, a certain level of, say, challenge, or just a dog getting really stubborn, I don't make it personal, and the whole thing is to create a level of acceptance, okay, in such a way that you're not going to make things worse. And so here, for example, this is why if I assess what I'm going to do next, if I look at this and say, well, I want to move a little bit to maybe trigger her going up once or twice just so I can counter that, I'll look at this